Shocking, something changed the moment your future partner realized who you truly are. Not because of the way you look. Not because of what you own. But because, somewhere deep inside their heart, they suddenly felt something they could no longer explain. They tried to laugh it away. They tried to convince themselves it was only another passing emotion. Yet every time they closed their eyes, your presence returned stronger than before. They have no idea why your name keeps echoing through their thoughts, and that unanswered question is becoming impossible for them to ignore. You have no idea how many unseen moments have been quietly preparing this story. While you believed life was moving in random directions, invisible threads were already being pulled together. Every disappointment, every delay, every lonely night was shaping something you could not yet understand. What seemed like rejection was often protection. What felt like silence was actually preparation. And now, without you realizing it, someone else's world has begun to shake because your path is getting dangerously close to theirs. Your future partner never expected this feeling to arrive the way it did. They were living their ordinary routine, convincing themselves they understood what love was supposed to feel like. Then something happened that completely disrupted their certainty. It was not a dramatic event. It was almost too small to notice. A familiar song suddenly felt different. A random stranger reminded them of someone they had never met. A dream lingered long after sunrise. Tiny moments kept gathering until they formed one impossible question they could no longer escape. The strange part is that they don't even fully understand why their emotions have become so overwhelming. One day they feel hopeful. The next day they feel restless. They keep searching for answers in places that cannot give them peace. Friends notice they seem distracted. Family members ask if something is wrong. They smile and pretend everything is normal, but deep inside they know something powerful is happening. They just cannot explain why their heart suddenly feels like it is waiting for someone. Meanwhile, you continue living your own life, unaware that every lesson you have survived has been preparing you for this exact season. The pain you thought would break you has quietly built a stronger version of yourself. Every tear became wisdom. Every setback became hidden strength. You may still question whether your story is moving forward, but heaven has been writing chapters you have not yet been allowed to read. And someone else's story has already begun to include you before you've even arrived. There are nights when your future partner cannot sleep. They stare into the darkness feeling as though something important is missing. Nothing around them has changed, yet everything inside them feels different. They replay memories that suddenly seem incomplete. They imagine conversations with someone they have never met. Logic tells them to stop overthinking, but their heart refuses to listen. It keeps whispering that someone is coming, and that whisper grows louder every single day. The signs become impossible to dismiss. Certain numbers appear again and again. Familiar places suddenly feel meaningful. Unexpected opportunities appear only to disappear before they can be understood. Coincidences begin stacking on top of one another until they no longer feel like coincidences at all. It feels as though an unseen hand is gently rearranging both of your lives, moving every piece into perfect position. But one final piece is still missing, and neither of you knows what it is. At first they resist the change. They tell themselves they are imagining everything. They bury themselves in work, hobbies, responsibilities, anything that might silence the growing anticipation inside them. Yet the harder they run, the louder their soul becomes. Every distraction eventually leads back to the same feeling. Every attempt to move on somehow circles back to the same invisible connection. It is as though destiny has already spoken, even if neither of you has heard the full message yet. Perhaps the most surprising part is that your future partner has started changing without even realizing why. They are becoming kinder, more patient, more honest with themselves. Old habits are falling away. Walls they built over years are beginning to crumble. They don't understand why they suddenly care less about impressing people and more about becoming the person they were always meant to be. They believe they are changing for themselves, never realizing someone they haven't met is already inspiring that transformation. At the same time, your own heart has probably noticed subtle changes. Maybe certain dreams feel more vivid than before. Maybe you have started letting go of people who no longer belong in your future. Maybe you feel an unexplained desire to grow, heal, forgive, or start over. These are not random emotions. Every small decision is quietly aligning your life with a future you cannot yet see. And every step you take is bringing two separate stories closer to becoming one. Still, timing refuses to reveal itself. That uncertainty becomes the hardest part. Questions begin multiplying. Why now? Why after everything you've both endured? Why did life wait so long before allowing these invisible pieces to move into place? The silence almost feels unbearable. Yet hidden inside that silence is a truth few people ever understand. Some blessings arrive only after both hearts become capable of protecting them. But what happened recently has changed everything. Your future partner experienced something that shook them to their core. It may have looked ordinary to everyone else, but inside it felt like an awakening. Suddenly they realized they were chasing things that would never satisfy them. Success without peace felt empty. Attention without connection felt meaningless. They discovered that their greatest desire was no longer achievement, it was authenticity. And that realization opened a door they had unknowingly kept locked for years. The moment that door opened, something extraordinary happened. Your energy entered their life before your presence ever could. They cannot explain it scientifically. They simply know they began feeling hopeful again. The future suddenly feels brighter without any visible reason. They catch themselves smiling during ordinary moments. They feel emotionally exposed, vulnerable, almost out of control, because something inside keeps insisting that everything is about to change. yet every beautiful story faces one final obstacle before the breakthrough. Just when it seems everything is finally aligning, unexpected challenges appear. Delays, misunderstandings, moments of doubt. Circumstances that tempt both of you to believe the connection was only imagination. This is the moment where many people give up. They mistake the final test for the final ending. But endings and beginnings often wear the same disguise. You may wonder why life keeps asking you to be patient. The answer has been hidden in plain sight all along. Love that lasts is rarely rushed. Hearts that are meant to protect each other often spend years learning how not to destroy what they prayed for. Every unanswered prayer was quietly becoming a greater answer. Every closed door redirected your steps toward a future that required a stronger version of you. And someone else was walking through the exact same process without knowing your name. Right now, as you read these words, your future partner may be standing at the edge of a decision they don't even realize is connected to you. One conversation could change everything. One unexpected invitation could redirect their path. One ordinary day could suddenly become unforgettable. The smallest choice often becomes the doorway to the greatest destiny. But there is one detail neither of you could possibly predict. Hidden beneath everything you've experienced lies a truth so unexpected that it changes the meaning of every disappointment you've ever survived. The people who walked away were never the real loss. The delays were never punishment. The loneliness was never permanent. Every painful chapter was quietly protecting the ending that had already been written. And now your future partner has finally begun to sense that someone extraordinary is closer than ever before. They can feel it. They cannot explain it. Their emotions rise without warning. Their heart races during quiet moments. Their soul keeps reaching toward someone invisible, someone familiar, someone who somehow already feels like home. They are losing control not because they are weak, but because destiny has begun moving faster than fear. Every sign points toward an encounter that neither of you will ever forget, and just when it seems the distance between your two lives is about to disappear forever, someone from the past unexpectedly steps back into the picture, carrying a secret capable of changing everything you thought you knew, and the next decision either of you makes could determine whether this long-awaited destiny finally unfolds, or slips away at the very last moment, the moment that unexpected figure returns. The atmosphere changes in ways neither of you can understand. It is as though time itself hesitates, holding its breath while every hidden thread begins pulling tighter. Your future partner feels it immediately. Their heart, which had only recently begun to find peace, suddenly races again. They tell themselves this is just another coincidence, another unfinished chapter demanding attention. But deep inside, something refuses to believe that explanation. Every instinct whispers that this return is connected to someone they have not yet met, and that someone is you. You continue moving through your days without realizing that events are unfolding behind the scenes. You wonder why certain plans keep changing at the last minute. You question why doors you expected to open suddenly remain closed. You may even feel frustrated, wondering if life is moving backward instead of forward. Yet what feels like another delay is quietly preventing you from arriving too early. Some meetings cannot happen until every heart involved has released what no longer belongs there, and someone is still holding on to one final piece. Your future partner begins facing memories they thought had disappeared forever. Old conversations return to their mind. Forgotten promises echo through quiet evenings. Faces from the past unexpectedly appear through messages, chance encounters, or dreams that feel almost too real to ignore. Every memory forces them to ask one difficult question they have avoided for years. Were they searching for love, or simply trying to fill an empty place that only destiny could complete? The answer frightens them because it changes everything they believed about themselves. For the first time, they stop running from silence. Instead of distracting themselves, they sit alone with their thoughts. That silence becomes uncomfortable at first. It exposes fears they buried beneath busy schedules and endless responsibilities. But hidden beneath those fears is something beautiful waiting to emerge. The more honest they become with themselves, the clearer your invisible presence begins to feel. They cannot see your face. They do not know your voice. Yet somehow your existence already feels familiar. As if your soul has been gently calling theirs for much longer than either of you realizes. At the same time, subtle changes begin happening around you. Conversations that once seemed important suddenly feel empty. Goals you once chased begin losing their power over your heart. You find yourself craving something deeper than success, something greater than recognition. You begin longing for peace that cannot be purchased, joy that cannot be borrowed, and love that does not disappear when life becomes difficult. Those desires are not appearing by accident. They are preparing your heart to recognize something extraordinary when it finally arrives, but the timing still remains hidden. One evening, your future partner experiences a dream unlike any they have ever had before. It feels so vivid that waking up becomes almost disappointing. They remember standing in a place filled with light, surrounded by a peace they cannot describe. They never clearly see your face, yet somehow they know they are not alone. Before the dream ends, they hear only a few simple words. Keep moving forward. They wake with tears in their eyes, unable to explain why those words feel more real than anything they experienced the day before. That single dream changes the direction of their thinking, but another surprise is already waiting. Days later, they begin noticing repeated signs that refuse to disappear. The same numbers appear on clocks, receipts, and addresses. Familiar songs play in unexpected places, each carrying lyrics that seem written specifically for their heart. Random conversations between strangers somehow answer questions they never spoke aloud. Even nature seems different. Sunrises become more beautiful. Rain feels strangely comforting. Every ordinary moment begins carrying extraordinary meaning. It is as though the universe itself has become part of a conversation only their soul can hear, and every answer points towards someone they have never met. Meanwhile, you are standing at the edge of your own transformation. There are moments when you almost give up believing something meaningful is still ahead. You wonder whether hope is simply another way to postpone disappointment. Yet every time you are tempted to stop believing, something unexpected happens. A kind word arrives exactly when you need it. A stranger's smile restores your confidence. A forgotten opportunity suddenly returns. Tiny reminders keep appearing, refusing to let your hope completely disappear. Someone unseen is gently reminding you that your story is still being written, and the best pages remain unread. What neither of you understands is that your lives have already crossed in ways you cannot remember. Perhaps you once stood only a few feet apart in a crowded place. Perhaps your paths almost connected before one unexpected decision changed everything. Maybe one of you arrived moments too early while the other arrived moments too late. These missed encounters were never failures. They were rehearsals, quiet reminders that destiny often comes close before revealing its full purpose. Every almost meeting was preparing your hearts to value the meeting that truly matters. Then everything changes in a single ordinary afternoon. Your future partner receives unexpected news that forces them to change their plans. At first, frustration fills their heart. They cannot understand why another interruption has appeared just when life finally seemed to make sense. But that unexpected change redirects them toward a place they never intended to visit. A place where another life is also slowly moving, completely unaware that the distance between two destinies has become smaller than ever before. Neither of you knows how close you really are, and that hidden truth makes every passing moment more powerful. The closer destiny brings you together, the louder fear becomes. Old doubts begin whispering again. What if this never happens? What if the timing is wrong? What if one opportunity is missed forever? Those questions feel real because every meaningful breakthrough is often surrounded by uncertainty. Fear always tries to speak the loudest just before hope finally becomes visible. But this time, something inside refuses to surrender. Both of your hearts have grown stronger through every disappointment, wiser through every delay, and more prepared than either of you can imagine. Then comes the realization that leaves your future partner completely overwhelmed. They finally understand they are no longer afraid of being alone. Instead, they are afraid of missing the person they have been unknowingly preparing to meet. That realization breaks every remaining wall around their heart. They stop pretending they have all the answers. They stop chasing temporary distractions. They begin choosing honesty over comfort, peace over pride, and purpose over appearances. Without realizing it, they have become the very person they once prayed to become. And that transformation sends invisible waves through a destiny that is already beginning to unfold. At that exact moment, somewhere not far away, you experience an unexpected feeling that you cannot explain. You pause in the middle of an ordinary day. Your heart becomes strangely peaceful for no visible reason. time almost seems to slow down. You look around, sensing that something significant is approaching, even though nothing appears different on the surface. That quiet feeling lasts only a few moments, but it leaves behind one unforgettable question: why does it suddenly feel like your life is about to change forever? The answer is closer than either of you knows. A single conversation is about to begin. A single glance is about to carry more meaning than years of waiting. A single moment is about to connect two stories that have been unfolding in silence for far longer than either heart could ever imagine. But hidden within that first meeting is one truth neither of you is prepared to hear, because someone else already knows who you are, and they are determined to stop destiny before your eyes ever meet. The closer the moment becomes, the heavier the unseen resistance feels. It is almost as if every force that has kept your paths apart suddenly realizes it is running out of time. Small misunderstandings begin appearing without warning. Plans shift at the last minute. Messages arrive late. Unexpected obligations pull people in different directions. If you looked only at the surface, you might believe everything is falling apart. But beneath the confusion, something remarkable is happening. Every delay is quietly eliminating the wrong possibilities so that only the right one remains, and neither of you can see how perfectly every piece is being arranged. Your future partner wakes one morning with an overwhelming sense that something is different. Nothing in their room has changed. The same sunlight enters through the window. The same sounds fill the morning air. Yet their spirit feels unusually alert, as though it has been gently awakened by a voice too soft for the ears but impossible for the heart to ignore. They cannot explain why they suddenly believe today matters. They simply know they are standing closer to a turning point than ever before, but they have no idea how close. Meanwhile, you notice your own heart becoming quieter. The worries that usually follow you seem strangely distant. Even when challenges appear, they no longer control your emotions the way they once did. You have learned something priceless through every disappointment. Peace is not found when life becomes perfect. Peace arrives when your soul begins trusting what your eyes cannot yet see. That quiet confidence has become your greatest strength, even though you may not realize it, and someone is about to notice it before you notice them. The person who returned from your future partner's past senses the change as well. They see the distance growing between who your future partner used to be and who they are becoming. It frightens them. They remember having influence over their emotions. They remember being able to predict every decision. Now, for the first time, they feel that control slipping away. They begin asking questions that have no easy answers. Why are they suddenly so calm? Why do they seem less interested in old patterns? Why does it feel like they are